My brother, I've been thinking about something. We've talked about this. Let's give the people more. Oh, they're gonna it up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we begin our last full week of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movies with 2016's Central Intelligence, starring Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Amy Ryan, Aaron Paul, Danielle Nicolette, Jason Bateman, and Melissa McCarthy. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And like I said during the introduction, today we begin our last full week of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movies with Central Intelligence. Now, our film opens in 1996 as star athlete Calvin the Golden Jet Joyner is being honored at his high school. Halfway through Calvin's speech, a group of bullies, led by Trevor Olson, throw the nude and morbidly obese nerd Robbie Weirdicht into the gymnasium, where the school assembly is taking place. Everyone starts laughing at Robbie, except for Calvin and his girlfriend, Maggie Johnson, who are the only ones that are sympathetic towards Robbie, with Calvin even going as far as to quickly cover Robbie with his varsity jacket in a moment of compassion. Robbie then thanks Calvin and flees the gymnasium out of embarrassment. We then jump ahead, and it's 2016, modern day for the movie, and Calvin Joyner has married Maggie Johnson. Calvin is now a forensic accountant, but he is dissatisfied with his career, having imagined that he would go on to bigger, better things since he was a star athlete. Maggie suggests that they see a therapist in an attempt to try and salvage their deteriorating marriage. At work one day, Calvin receives a friend request on Facebook from a man named Bob Stone, who invites Joyner to meet him at a bar. Once they meet, Bob Stone reveals himself to be Robbie Weirdick, and Calvin is shocked to see that Robbie has transformed himself into a muscular, fit, confident man with advanced hand-to-hand combat skills. Stone asks Calvin to review some online transactions, and Calvin is able to discover a multi-million-dollar auction with bidders from radical countries, with the bidding set to conclude the following day. Stone ducks some of Calvin's questions and avoids them, spends the night on his couch. The next morning, a team of CIA agents led by Pamela Harris arrive at Calvin's house in search of Bob Stone, who has already escaped. Harris tells Calvin that Bob is a dangerous rogue agent who murdered his former partner, Phil Stanton. Harris then tells Calvin that Bob intends to sell satellite codes to the highest bidder. Soon after, Stone abducts Joyner and explains that he is trying to stop a criminal known as the Black Badger from selling the codes, but he needs Calvin's skills in order to locate the meeting place. After an attack by a bounty hunter, Calvin flees and calls Maggie, telling her to meet him at the marriage counselor's office. Harris intercepts Calvin and tells him that Bob Stone is in fact the Black Badger. Harris goes on to warn Calvin to refrain from telling Maggie and gives him a device in order to alert them to Stone's location. Calvin then arrives with Maggie for their marriage counseling session, where he discovers that Bob Stone is posing as the counselor. Stone is able to convince Calvin to help him, so he sets up a meeting with Trevor Olson, the same bully who embarrassed Bob all those years ago. Now, Trevor is able to track the offshore account for the auction so they can get the location of the deal. And Trevor even goes as far as to fabricate an apology to Bob before proceeding to antagonize Stone even further. Harris calls Calvin and threatens to arrest Maggie if he fails to help them detain Bob. Calvin reluctantly betrays Stone, and the CIA places him under arrest. As Harris tortures Stone in order to get him to confess, Calvin helps Bob escape. Calvin then discovers that the deal is happening in a Boston underground parking garage and helps Bob steal a plane. Bob enters alone while Calvin sees Harris entering a short while later. He assumes that she is the Black Badger and runs after her, only to find Stone meeting with the buyer and claiming himself to be the Black Badger, going as far as to shoot Calvin, grazing his neck in order to keep him safe. Stanton arrives at the scene revealing that he faked his own death and is, in fact, the real Black Badger. A fight then breaks out, and Stanton reveals his plan to frame Stone for the crime. But Stone kills Stanton by ripping his throat out. Calvin Joyner and Bob Stone make it just in time to attend their 20th high school reunion, where upon arriving, Calvin reconciles with Maggie and promises to improve their marriage. The new prom king is announced to be Bob Stone, and Calvin reveals to Maggie that he hacked into the school's voting system in order to make it happen. Trevor then shows up in order to bully Bob once again, but Bob finally stands up for himself and knocks him unconscious. Bob then gives an acceptance speech in which he reveals to all his classmates that he is Robbie Weirdick. He cites the importance of overcoming obstacles, and he praises Calvin for being his best friend. Robbie then relives his most embarrassing moment on his own terms by stripping off all of his clothes. Once naked, Robbie then encounters his old high school crush, Darla, whom he begins to dance with. And in our film epilogue, we discover that Maggie is now pregnant, and Calvin has now joined the CIA as Bob's partner. As a gift for his very first day on the job, Bob returns Calvin's varsity jacket. This is a real fun movie, a really good buddy comedy in the vein of like a Lethal Weapon. Even though the first one is definitely a little bit more on the action side, it's definitely that buddy cop movie. Beverly Hills Cop would be another one. It's the first time Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson were paired together, and you just could instantly see the chemistry. I mean, they've gone on to do two Jumanji sequels, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji The Next Level together. They're going on and they're going to be in the DC League of Super Pets together. So it's one of those random pairings that just ended up turning into a beautiful on-screen partnership. You know that if you see Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart listed on the marquee together, it's going to be a good time. And this was the beginning of that partnership. Then you throw in somebody like Jason Bateman, who, being a child of born in 76, growing up in the 80s, Jason Bateman's definitely a familiar face. Then you add in Melissa McCarthy, her brief role as then you throw in Melissa McCarthy as Darla, who played the grown-up version of Robbie's crush. And you've just got all these elements to really compound and make a really fun, enjoyable movie. The standard ugly duckling that turns into a beautiful swan, but in this case, it's Robbie Weirdick who becomes Bob Stone, the fat, oversized, easy to pick on, easy to bully kid in high school who hits the gym, becomes shredded, becomes jacked, and now all of a sudden he looks like The Rock. And these transformations are things that do happen in society all the time. You know, you need to be aware of who you mess with and why you mess with them. I cannot stress enough, bullying is something that needs to die a slow, painful death. No one person is better than anybody else. I don't care who you are. And when things like this, when movies like this come around, it's just a friendly reminder of, you pick on that kid then, and look at what becomes of him now. You could maybe argue that by picking on them and bullying them, it gave them that drive and that determination to change their life for the better. But in reality, we shouldn't judge anybody based off of who they are because we don't know their full story. Period. But I like Central Intelligence. It's not my favorite of the Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart films. That's obviously the Jumanji films. But this is definitely an entertaining one. When it comes to my rating of this one, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it's not my favorite of the pairing of them. I lean more towards the Jumanji ones. But if you're a fan of Kevin Hart, if you're a fan of Dwayne Johnson, and you have never seen this film, you need to tune in and you need to check it out. What do you guys think of Central Intelligence? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. But whatever you do, let me know your thoughts. Let's engage in that conversation, as I'm always trying to encourage you to do. I love to have talks and chit chats with people over the forums, over movies. So let's engage in that. Make sure you tune in at the top of the hour over on the Jeff Meacham Network for a brand new installment of The Dads Not Always on Wrestling, where Jeff and I will discuss The Rock's top 10 greatest matches. And then on Wednesday, exclusively here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, will be another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, and I will discuss the video game turned action flick Rampage, starring Dwayne Johnson, Naomi Harris, Malin Ackerman, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Jake Lacey, and Joe Manganiello. You're not going to want to miss out on that one. Right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Right back here on an all-new installment of Renegades Reviews. Just like you're not going to want to miss out on our top 10 Dwayne Johnson matches right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as over on the Jeff Meacham Network, and that'll be at the top of the hour. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate all my loyal fans and viewers out there supporting me. Make sure you like and share this video with all your family, friends, other movie lovers, other cinephiles. Help me get that growth with the channel that I'm looking for. Help me get to where I can eventually be monetized and make some money on these videos. It'll definitely go a long way to help me, and I greatly appreciate all the support that I get. Thank you again for tuning in and watching, and I will see you guys next time.